On this episode of Mix and Some Magic, I'm joined by Shantelle, magical tour guide, and we're talking about the differences in planning a Disneyland vacation and a Disney World vacation because there are some huge differences that you need to know about. So if you're planning a Walt Disney World vacation, you're going to love this episode. If you've ever had Walt Disney World on your bucket list, you're going to love this episode. Hi, I'm Melissa with Mix and Some Magic. I'm a Disney planning expert and I'm here to mix a little magic into your day. Each week I share Disney vacation planning tips, park strategies, and a little bit of Disney history sprinkled in. Of course, I like to include lots of Disney magic. Join me, let's mix in some magic. Hello and welcome. How are you? Thank you so much for being here, taking time out of your day to hang out with me. It's going to be fun. I have a fun episode planned. My friend Shantelle and I just recently got back from Walt Disney World, and we're going to talk about planning a Walt Disney World vacation and how it is different than planning a Disneyland vacation. There are huge, huge differences. But first, tomorrow is my birthday, and birthdays are weird, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Birthdays are weird for. I'm excited about my birthday. I like my birthday. I don't mind getting older. I'm turning 43. And for all of you listening who are in your 20s and 30s, 43 isn't as old as you think it is. Trust me. But it's just weird. It's weird to have people tell you happy birthday, and maybe it's just me. Weird to be like have people celebrate you, but then at the same time, if they don't, then you feel bad. I don't know. It's just weird. Every time it's my birthday, I'm like, yay! Oh no, it's my birthday. I don't love the attention. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I have a problem with attention that you get on birthdays. But if I didn't get the attention, then I would feel bad. See, I'm just weird. I'm super excited though because when my son got married a few months ago, then we had this cake we ordered for this wedding lunch that we had, and it was so good. It was amazing. We ordered it from a catering company, and I loved it. My favorite cake, because I am a sucker for cake. I love cake. I don't know what it is, but if you say cake, I just feel giddy. Like I get a smile on my face. It makes me so happy. I love it. So we ordered this cake again. It's only comes in a full sheet, which is huge, and then a half sheet, which is also huge. So we got the half sheet, and I get to have this cake for my birthday tomorrow, and I'm so excited about it. So I am looking forward to that portion of my birthday. And I don't know, it'll be fun. It'll be a good day, I am sure. I just get weird about all the attention. I think that's what it is. But thank you for letting me talk this out, figure out what makes me feel weird on my birthday. I appreciate it. We had a little therapy session here. I think it went well. So thank you. One thing I wanted to mention is I am doing an April review drive, is what I'm calling it. I'm trying to get people to leave reviews on the podcast, is what is happening. Think of it as my birthday gift. You're giving me the best gift in the world when you leave a podcast review because that helps people find me, shows my podcast to people who are searching for it if I have reviews. So that's what I'm begging you for. Please go and leave a review. It would make my day. And during the month of April, anyone who leaves a review is entered to win a Disney gift card, $50 Disney gift card, and I'm giving away 2 of them. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you to the people who have already left reviews. You guys are amazing. And your reviews are so good. I am like blown away. A couple of them have me all choked up. I appreciate it so much. I mean, I would appreciate it if you just wrote, love the podcast, and that was your whole review. These reviews are really thoughtful, and man, you guys are awesome. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. A couple things coming up at Disneyland. Number 1 is in a few weeks that I am hosting an event with Ashley from Ashley Dixon Shenanigans. And we are hosting an event at Disneyland. It started out as a Utah Disney fans event. So anybody who lives in Utah, where we live, wanted to come hang out at Disneyland with us, needed an excuse to go to Disneyland. We were like, come, let's just all go to Disneyland. And as it's progressed, there's a few people who are coming who are not from Utah, which is totally fine. We're so excited to have everybody come. So if you are looking for a reason to skip out on your normal life and meet new people and hang out at Disneyland, there's still time to come to our Utah Disney Crew event. Even if you're not from Utah, we're not going to be checking IDs. So don't worry about that. It is happening May 9th through the 11th. So we're going to do a kickoff thing on Wednesday night. So I guess technically it's the 8th through the 11th. So May 8th, we're going to do a little kickoff thing. We're going to have dinner at our host hotel. We're staying at the Cambria, and we're going to have dinner and hang out. We're going to do a hot tub party at the Cambria. Then the next day, on Thursday, we're going to go to California Adventure Park, hang out there all day. Some of us are going to be going to Star Wars night on the 9th. And then on the 10th, we are having a whole Disneyland day where we're going to hang out. We're going to have a scavenger hunt. We're going to rope drop, of course, stay late, of course, do lots of rides. It's going to be really fun. And we just kind of wanted it to be a come and hang out with us if you want, come to part of it if you want. If you just want to come say hi and do the scavenger hunt, or come say hi and have dinner with us, or come go to fireworks and then you're off to do your own thing, then that's totally cool. So it's just going to be fun, and I'm really excited for it. So if you want more information, send me a DM on Instagram. There's a link to my Instagram in the show notes. Send me a DM, say I want more information, and I will send that out to you. So that is coming up. I'm very excited for it. Thinking it might become a yearly thing. We'll have to see. We'll see. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted, but excited about that. If you don't have a trip planned for Disneyland right now, you might want to think about it, because there are so many fun things happening between now and the end of the summer. So there's Season of the Force that is going on. Pixar Fest kicks off in a couple of days. And Fantasmic returns on May 24th. I'm so excited for Fantasmic to return. We've missed it. Remember how the dragon caught on fire and it was that big, huge thing, and then they've taken forever to bring it back? Well, it's coming back May 24th. It's going to be exciting. I won't be there on May 24th, but I'm looking forward to when I'm back, able to watch Fantasmic again, because it's going to be great. I'm excited to see how it's changed, how it's the same, that kind of thing. So there's a lot going on, and there's still time to book your Disneyland vacation. If you want to go in the summer, there's still time. You're not behind. You've got plenty of time. Come and enjoy Disneyland. It's so great. If you are going to book a Disneyland vacation, please don't pay full price. I know I say this all the time, but please, please don't pay full price. There's no reason to pay full price. My travel partners have amazing deals on park tickets. You're always going to save money on your park tickets. And they have great deals on hotels. You save the most when you combine the two. Right now, they have hotels that have like a third night free, or a fourth night free, or a fifth night free. And these are great deals. And these are really good hotels. So like the Viv has a free night option. The Westin, which I just stayed at recently and is gorgeous, has a free night option. Element has one. Cambria. There's a ton. I'm going to put a link to some of my favorite ones that are offering a free night in the show notes. So you can click on that, check it out. If you're trying to save the very most, which I always am, you can combine it with an extra day free. So Getaway Today sells an extra day free. Buy 4 days, you get the 5th day free. So if you combine that deal with a hotel that offers a free night, you just got like a whole free day at Disneyland. Free day in the parks, free night at a hotel. It's amazing. That's my favorite way to save money at Disneyland. So definitely check that out. If you're going, don't pay full price. And if you book a package, you can use my code MIX10 to save an additional $10. Okay, I think that's it. All the exciting things happening. Oh, except for I wanted to welcome my 2 new Patreon members, Chris and Elisa. Thank you for joining us over on Patreon. Patreon members get ad-free podcast episodes, early release podcast episodes, access to our Disney book club, which this month, I don't know if I told you, we're reading Peter Pan. It's my favorite. Oh, because it's my birthday and it's my favorite movie, my favorite ride. I have a Neverland themed office, so I was like, let's do Peter Pan. It's so good. It's delightful. This book is delightful. So come and join us. It's amazing. So I hope you'll come to our Disney Book Club if you're a Patreon member. If you're not, come and sign up. The lowest option is $5 a month. It gets you the ad-free episodes. It gets you the Disney Book Club, all of it. And I am going to start releasing exclusive episodes once a month over on Patreon too for Patreon listeners. That's going to be starting in May. So watch for that, Patreon members. And thank you for your support. I appreciate it so much because Mixin' Some Magic is free to listen to, but it is not free to create. And so I appreciate support so very much. Okay, let's take a quick break, get some info from our sponsors, and when we come back, I will have Shantelle with me, and we're going to talk about the differences between booking Disneyland and Disney World because they are huge. Some things that you would never do at Disneyland, you have to do at Disney World. Lots of information coming. Don't miss it. Ads are a pain in the butt. I really don't like them, but unfortunately, they are a necessary evil when you run a podcast. If you're listening to the ad and affiliate supported version of Mixin' Some Magic, thank you. Your support helps keep Mixin' Some Magic running. If you're listening to the ad-free version on Patreon, thank you as well. Your monthly support is so appreciated and helps me with equipment costs, editing software, research materials for the show, and more. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, I'll put a link in the show notes. There's several membership options with the lowest being $5 a month. All Patreon supporters are invited to attend our monthly Disney Book Club as well. So come and join us. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get back to the episode. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to give a shout out to our amazing sponsor, Audible. I am now an Audible affiliate and I am so excited about it. I've been using Audible for years and I am really happy to have this chance to team up with a brand that I have loved and used for quite some time. If you love the magic of storytelling but find it hard to make time for reading, Audible is your perfect solution. With Audible, you can listen to a huge selection of audiobooks, podcasts, and more, all from the convenience of your favorite device. Whether you're into thrilling mysteries, self-help, or epic fantasy, Audible has something for everyone because they have thousands of titles available. As an Audible member, you can choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog, including the latest bestsellers and new releases. But that's not all. Members also get full access to a growing selection of included audiobooks, Audible originals, and podcasts. You can download or stream included titles all you want. Most of our Disney Book Club selections are available on Audible, including this month's title. And here's the best part. I've teamed up with Audible to offer you an exclusive deal. By using my special link, you can get a free 30-day trial of Audible. That's right, 30 days of stories, knowledge, and entertainment absolutely free. If you love podcasts, and you must because you're here, I know you'll love Audible. Just visit www.audibletrial.com/mixinSomeMagic to start your free trial today. That's www.audibletrial.com/mixinSomeMagic. I'll also include a link for you in the show notes. It's a fantastic way to discover the joy of audiobooks and to support my podcast at the same time. Happy listening, and thanks to Audible for making today's episode possible. I am here with Shantelle, magical tour guide. We just got back from Walt Disney World, and today we're going to be talking about the differences between planning a Walt Disney World vacation and a Disneyland vacation, because there are some huge differences that you need to know about. So, yay, Chantel, we're here.
Yay! We had so much fun in Walt Disney World. It is like a completely different world over there.
It really is. And every time I go, I like it more and more and more.
Yeah. And there's so much to see and do, like you just can't get it all done. So going again and again helps to like orient yourself. There's just so much to learn.
There is. And everybody loves Disneyland. Disneyland's amazing. But if you've never been to Walt Disney World, I think it needs to be on your list. Like, take a day off from Disneyland and plan a Walt Disney World trip because it's so, so fun.
Yes. And if you're used to going to Disneyland, you definitely need to plan a trip to Walt Disney World. And the planning process and things that you do over there are several things that are very different. And that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to make sure you understand so that when you go to plan your trip, you're not like, oh, that's not how it is at Disneyland, because there are things that are very different and you need to plan those things, some of them ahead of time so that you make the most out of your visit.
For sure. So, the first thing we want to talk about is staying on property because at Disneyland, there's only three hotels to choose from. It doesn't really matter if you stay on property. There's so many great options off property that are much more affordable. And honestly, the benefits of staying on property at Disneyland are very, very small.
Yeah.
But that's not the case at Disney World. At
Right.
Disney World, you want to stay on property, and the benefits of staying on property are really, really huge. So I would say the number one benefit of staying on property at Walt Disney World is early entry, but it's a better benefit than it is at Disneyland, wouldn't you say?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'll dive into that a little more about how early entry works at Disney World, but definitely that is a huge perk. Unlike at Disneyland, I don't feel like it really affects the crowds.
Exactly. And if you don't have early entry, if you're not staying on property, then it really affects you, I think is the
Mhm.
difference. So it's a benefit, but if you don't stay on property, it's kind of a disadvantage. Where at Disneyland,
Yes.
that is not the case. Another benefit is great theming. Every single property has amazing theming, and not just like a picture of Mickey Mouse hanging on the wall. Like, they are themed and they are all so different and so cool. They all have pools that are amazing and it's just fun. You feel like you're on vacation. It's very, very resort feeling at every single property, and I love it. Do you have a favorite property?
I don't know if I have a favorite. So Caribbean Beach, we have stayed there multiple times. I really love the vibe and how just it's laid out and you feel like you are totally on vacation. Um, Recently, like we stayed at I've stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge before. We just stayed at All Star Movies. We stayed at Port Orleans French Quarter, which was really fun. And the theming there was so cool. I loved that place. It was really fun. I don't know about a favorite because I haven't stayed enough of them. Pop Century, if you're looking for a value, I love the Pop Century. It's like the different centuries, and it's like a Disney take on each century, and it's just really fun. And the pool is amazing, and just the decor and everything. I really love this kind of the throwback feel there. So, as far as a value, I'd say Pop Century. I don't have a favorite. Well, no, I should say take that back. I do have a favorite deluxe, the Beach Club. Oh my goodness, the beach club. It smells so amazing in the lobby and around there. And they have the best pool. Between the beach club and the yacht club, they share a pool. And that is my favorite Disney World for sure pool. And just staying there is so much fun. And you're right there next to Epcot. You can pop in and out of Epcot. It's amazing. So for
Their
sure, beach club,
pool.
if I had to choose one.
Yeah, their pool is so, so great. Yes, so they all have great pools, all have great theming, and they all have dining, which I really love. That is so different from Disneyland because at
Mhm.
Disneyland, a lot of the hotels, well, the three hotels, they have a little bit of dining, at least Grand Californian does. Disneyland Hotel has a little coffee shop and they have Goofy's Kitchen. Pixar Place has a little restaurant, but they all have like dedicated dining to
Yeah.
their resort, which I really, really like. Because if you're heading home at the end of a long day and you're like, shoot, my kids are exhausted, we don't want to eat in the parks, no big deal because you know there's food right outside your hotel room door that you can eat, or even just snacks or dessert, anything you want. And I really, really love that. I wish they had that at Disneyland, but I think that is a huge, huge benefit at Walt Disney World.
For sure. Yeah. I love and there's different options. And like at the deluxe resorts, you're going to have more of like a possibly a character dining or a nice sit down restaurant. And at the more value, you're going to have like a big food court. I'll talk a little more about that, but there's lots of options and it just depends on the resort. And you can resort hop. Like you don't have to just because you're staying here at Beach Club doesn't mean you have to eat here. Like you could resort hop over to the boardwalk, or you could get on, that's the wonderful thing about the transportation is you could hop on the Skyliner and take it over to the Riviera and eat at the Riviera, and there's just so many options. It's like this own little world that you're in.
Yes, it's the Disney bubble. That's
Yeah.
another thing I was going to talk about. You'll hear people say that they love staying on property because of the Disney bubble. And that just means that you're completely surrounded by Disney at all times. Like the dining and the transportation and your hotel and the theming, you never have to leave Disney property, which is really, really nice. You have that Disney feeling the whole time. Another thing we want to talk about is transportation because not all the resorts are close to the Disney property or the Disney parks, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's not like Disneyland where everything's very close. They're all spread out, but if you're staying on property, they have a way for you to get to every single park and transportation's free. The bus system, when we were there a few weeks ago, I thought worked really, really well. I've heard people say that transportation was hard for them, but we did not have a single problem. We were always able to get on a bus. We never had to wait very long. And I thought transportation was really, really easy and I loved it.
Yeah, it's easy to use too. Like you can find, okay, like at your resort, there's always like a spot where all the transportation is, and it says, okay, this is where if you're going to Animal Kingdom or if you're going to Epcot, no matter the theme park or if you're going to Disney Springs, you can also look in the app underneath the resort you're staying at, and it'll tell you, okay, the next bus should be here at this time. And so they make it really easy for you to hop on and off of things. They have other transportation, not just buses. They've got boats. They've got the Skyliner, just lots of opportunities, and the monorail if you're staying near like Magic Kingdom resorts. So it can be a little complicated when you first get there. You're like, okay, how do I get where? But they're really good about helping out with that, and the app is very helpful.
Yeah, very helpful. And they were really accurate too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to Walt Disney World and you stay on property, you're going to park your car and you're really not going to need your car again until you leave the property, which is really nice because you'll be in
Yeah.
that Disney bubble, which
Yeah. I
everybody
mean, as many
loves.
times as I have gone, I've never rented a car. I just fly in to the Orlando airport and then get an Uber or however I'm getting to my resort and stay and never leave the bubble. So I've never rented a car. I wouldn't even know where to go to park.
Well, let's talk about the different levels though, because they have a value property, a moderate property, and a deluxe property, and there's kind of some different benefits that go along with each of those. So let's talk about that.
Okay, so the value is kind of the lowest priced properties. And so the value properties, think of them more like a motel where you have like all the doors are facing out. So it's like a big building and all the doors face out somewhere. And it's big, giant buildings, and the rooms are of the three different levels. Those are probably the smaller rooms. But you can get rooms starting at like $125 for a Disney resort hotel. You can't get that at Disneyland.
No,
Everything at Disneyland is super expensive. It's more of like the deluxe, which I'm going to talk about, deluxe range pricing. So over at Walt Disney World, you have several. There's All-Star Movies and sports, and there's Pop Century, there's art of animation. So there's several options that are in this a low kind of this value resort pricing. The other thing about value resorts is they have one like giant pool. It's like, kind of like the pool, and it's obviously has great theming. And then they also have a giant food court. So like we were talking about, when you come back or if you want breakfast or whatever, they have a giant food court, and it has like different options, different things to grab and go. But you could go there with your family. You could pick out several different things, and somebody can get everything, whatever they want. The other thing I want to talk about with all the resorts, no matter when you go, is they also have a refillable like dining mug. So it's like a refillable drink. And so you pay like, I think it was like $22
I think so.
for this mug, and it's refillable for the entire time that you're there. And you can't take it to the Disney parks, but you can take it to your resort and fill it there in the food court. Or if you were hopping to another, let's say another resort, you could fill up at their resort. So it is a refillable like soda and lemonade and iced tea and sodas. And anyway, it's great if you have if you're going to be there for at least a week. Definitely recommend that. So that's something you want to look into. But like I said, so the food court there at the Pop Century or your value resorts is great. Then also at the value resorts, you're going to have like a bus system or some way to get to the parks. Whether it's bus, whether it's on the Skyliner, but the transportation is all included. And it doesn't matter which resort you're staying at, you can get to each of the Disney parks and Disney Springs. So that's kind of your options and what's included with the value resort. Then the next level up is the moderate. Moderate, we just recently stayed at a moderate that was new to us. It was the Port Orleans French Quarter. And the theming was just so fun. Just loved it. We had beignets, the only place you can get beignets on property. And the moderate resort was more of like, it was kind of like, yes, the doors faced out, but the rooms were a little bit bigger. And the theming and the kind of things that were included in the room, they were a little more, like you could tell the difference between the value. It was fun to stay at a value and then a moderate back to back, because you could see the difference in the room size and just a few of the amenities inside the room. And then the next level, which is the highest, is the deluxe. And the deluxe is going to be comparable to your Disneyland hotel, your Disney Grand, and your Pixar place. Those hotels over on Walt Disney World are your beach club, your yacht club, all the ones that are around Magic Kingdom, the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian. And those are definitely more of your upscale. They have nice sit-down restaurants. They're going to have your really exotic pools that have like fun interactive things, huge water slide. And then some of them have character dining. And the deluxe also includes an extra perk. So if you stay on property at a deluxe resort, you get, there's 2 different nights during the week. You get what they call extended evening hours. So it is extended hours in either Epcot or Magic Kingdom. One time during the week, I think it's usually on Wednesdays Wednesdays is Epcot and Magic Kingdom is Mondays, or vice versa, but I can't remember. But anyway, if you stay at a deluxe hotel, then that is something you get and it's usually 2 hours after the park has closed. So similar to kind of like an after hours party that they do, except for it's included when you stay there. Everyone in your hotel room gets to go, and it's included with your stay. So it's not an extra ticket. It's just a perk of staying on property. So the deluxe resorts, they also have every resort has a gift shop, and every resort's going to have like a gift shop that has, based on their, like if you're staying at Animal Kingdom, it's going to say Animal Kingdom Lodge merch. So those are fun things you want to look for. They also all have like little markets where you can get grab and go food. And then they all have, like guest services where you can ask questions. So really the benefits of staying on property at Walt Disney World far outweigh the necessity of doing it at Disneyland. You really want to stay on property when you go on a vacation to Walt Disney World. If you have to save to either, do that value or that moderate or whatever you want to do, save to stay on property versus saving a few bucks and staying off property, because it really it doesn't benefit you. Unlike at Disneyland, where I feel like most of the time I don't stay on property because I don't need the benefits of staying in the Disneyland bubble, because there's not so much of a bubble. Whereas at Walt Disney World, you want to have that free transportation. You want to have access to all of those things, and you want to stay right there on property so that you can take advantage of early entry and, things that are included when you stay at a Disney resort. And they're just amazing. I
They
love
are
staying.
amazing. I think that they have around 30 different properties,
Yeah. Yeah.
but or maybe even more, where, Disneyland only has three. And you think if all those 30 properties have guests staying in them and they all have early entry, if you're not staying on property, you don't have early entry, then by the time you show up at the park, even if you're rope dropping, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but the park's already filled with bunches of people who have early entry. So it really is a huge benefit to have early entry and stay on property because a lot of people can't get up that early. Even the people staying on property will sleep in.
Yeah.
But we got up early every
We
single
did.
day, and early entry was so great when we
Yeah.
were there.
Now, if you are wanting to check out the different hotels and compare like rates and that sort of thing, each of us will have in the description of either, Melissa's going to have it on her podcast. I'll have it on my YouTube video where you can go click a link and compare and take a look at what amenities each of them have and decide what's going to be best for your family. And we highly recommend looking there because we always have like discounted hotel rates through our travel partner.
For sure. All right, another thing that is very different at Disney World as opposed to Disneyland is Genie Plus. Now, Disneyland does Genie Plus better. They just
Yeah.
do. Disney World, it's different. At Disneyland, I could probably use a Genie Plus Lightning Lane for like 10, 11, maybe even more attractions in one day if that was my goal. At Disney World, it's different. If you get on, into two or three lightning lanes using your Genie Plus, then you've done well at Disney
Right.
World. It's really, really different. And they even say that on Disney World's website. If you purchase Genie Plus, you can expect to use it for 2 to 3 lightning lane attractions. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different. It's also different because you cannot purchase it in advance. You have to purchase it the day of your visit, which is different because Disneyland lets you purchase it with your ticket if you would like to. And I don't know why they do this, but at Disney World, you can make your first Lightning Lane selection if you have Genie Plus at 7 a.m. It doesn't matter if you're scanned into the park or not. You can be at your hotel. That's fine. You can make your first Lightning Lane selection. And so everybody makes one at 7 a.m. People set their alarms. And when we have done this before in the past at 7 a.m., we've made a Lightning Lane reservation and our return time wasn't until 3 or 4 in the afternoon because so many people were making Lightning Lane reservations. And it's just a little frustrating to pay for Genie Plus and to only get on 2 or 3 attractions, but that's the game there. So if you're going to buy it, you have to do it the day of. You can do it on the app from your hotel room, but definitely do it before 7 a.m. because at 7 a.m. you have to book your first lightning lane and be ready to go. So you got to book that one first thing right at 7 a.m. And then after that, you can start booking more. But most of them are all
Yeah.
booked up because so many people buy it and then book them starting at 7 a.m. And I feel like maybe that's the difference why it doesn't work as well because of that 7 a.m. where
Because
people can book
everybody's
them.
getting a lightning lane at the same time.
I think so. Where
Yeah.
at Disneyland, you can't start booking until you are scanned into the parks. And a
Right.
lot of people don't show up until 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
And
So
at
that
Disney
helps
World,
the
it's
early
different.
bird who gets to Disneyland snag those attractions earlier in the day.
That makes a big difference. So Genie Plus, I don't know. I do feel like it's more valuable at Magic Kingdom. If I was going to Magic Kingdom, I would probably buy Genie Plus. It can be valuable at Hollywood Studios, but for Epcot and Animal Kingdom, I don't feel like I've gotten my money's worth when I've used Genie Plus there.
Right. And I feel like if you have a good strategy, you're staying on property, you get there for early entry and you have a plan. I don't feel this. I feel the same way. You don't need it at Animal Kingdom or Epcot. You can knock all the attractions out. We didn't use it at either one of those parks when we were there, and we did everything we wanted to do and
Hmm.
had extra time. So, Magic Kingdom though, I feel like you definitely want to use it at Magic Kingdom because there's a lot of attractions that are included with Disney Genie. And then over at Hollywood Studios, it's just really hard. Hollywood Studios is a hard part because there's so many heavy hitters there.
Hmm.
So having Disney Genie helps you at least to get the majority of, I mean, you can do the entire park, but it takes a strategy.
Yeah, and you're gonna be waiting in lines at Hollywood Studios. No matter what, you're gonna have some long lines.
Yeah, that's for
That's just
sure.
what it is. All
Yep.
right, let's talk more about early entry.
Okay, so early entry. Now let's talk again the differences. So early entry over at Disneyland. Just recently did early entry again, and early entry over at Disneyland. I mean, you're either in one park or the other now. So it's not like everybody is, spread out. They're either at Disneyland on certain days or Disney California Adventure on certain days. And even having the three hotels with all those guests going in there, I don't feel like it affects the crowds when people who are arriving at rope drop get there. The parks are not that crowded. I mean, like, you can still get on rides and do your regular rope drop as normal. I don't feel like the early entry affects Disneyland guests like it does over Walt Disney World. Also at Disneyland, so over at Disneyland, most attractions are open over at Disney California Adventure. And then over at Disneyland, just Tomorrowland and Fantasyland is open during early entry. And that's a similar thing over at Walt Disney World. I'll explain that. But so when you are at Disneyland, I don't tell people, oh, you have to avoid certain days or certain things because of early entry, because I don't really feel like it affects it. Now, over at Walt Disney World, it really does. So every guest that is staying at a Disney property, which, like we talked about, there's over 30 of them, and people who take advantage of early entry, which a lot of them do, they get that advantage of that 30 minutes. And here's why it's crucial. So when we were there, we tested it at each park and the importance of getting there. Now, we left our resort. We were always on the first bus that left the resort that morning. So for instance, if early entry starts at 8:30, you want to be on the bus that's leaving before 7:30. You need to be out of your room over an hour before. So we were always on a bus like 7:20, 7:15, just depending on the day and the hour the early entry starts. But just plan on an hour. Just get in your head an hour. You need to be out the door before that, so you're on the very first bus. Then we lined up, and they line you up at security, and then they let you through security to a certain point, and then they check your hotel. They will check and make sure that you're a guest staying on property. They check, and then you are let in, and it is like a huge crowd. You are let in right at 8:30 or whatever the time is for early entry. And when you are let in, we had a strategy at each park. And at Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios, those three parks, the majority of the rides, especially the big e-ticket attractions, are all open during early entry. Over at Magic Kingdom, just Fantasyland and Tomorrowland are open during early entry. What everyone does, so like when we went to Magic Kingdom, our first ride we went to was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And each day that we did this, our strategy was we want to get on the biggest, like the attraction that's going to have the longest line at some point. So we went on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and then we got in line for the second most, like probably popular attraction. In this case, it was Peter Pan. Before that little 30-minute time frame was up, we were able to walk through the line of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, get on the attraction, get off, go get in line for Peter Pan, and we actually got off of Peter Pan just as early entry ended. So you can get for sure 2 attractions, sometimes 3, depending on which park you're at. So that's what we did at Magic Kingdom. Then when we went to Epcot, same thing. We got left the park or left our hotel more than an hour before. We were on that first bus. Epcot, our goal was to go to Frozen. The reason we went to Frozen and not Ratatouille is because we were afraid the line for Ratatouille, because you've got people coming in at the front and you have people coming in at the International Gateway. And that line would be longer than the Frozen. So we chose to go to Frozen so we could get Frozen done and then get over to Ratatouille and get in line before all of the regular guests, rope drop guests, get there. And we did. We made it. So again,
We
we got 2
hustled.
attractions done in that 30 minutes. Well, not done, but we were in line. Then Animal Kingdom, same thing. Our goal was to be there, get on Flight of Passage. So we walked, got in the line of Flight of Passage, walked off, got right on the attraction, got off, went to Navi River, and we were done before early entry started, before early entry was over. So again, those were the 2 attractions we did there. And then on our Hollywood Studios day, again, we had a plan, Slinky Dog Dash. So we got in the parks, we went right to Slinky Dog Dash. I'm telling you, that line was so huge. Even during early entry, it was already like an 80-minute wait when we got off the ride. We went right onto the ride, got on, got off, went and did Toy Story, and then the park opened. So all of the parks, it's important that you have a strategy and you have a plan so that you can get to those rides. Now, this is how early entry affects guests that do not stay on property. So if you're not staying on property, think about all those rides we just did. Flight of Passage, Toy Story, Slinky Dog Dash, Seven Dwarf, any of those attractions. By the time the park officially opens, all of those attractions have a 60+ minute wait already. So if you're somebody who's staying off property and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get there for rope drop. The park opens at 9 o'clock. I'm going to be there at, 8:40, 8:30, whatever. You're going to be there at 8. Doesn't matter. You're there for rope drop and you're the first ones there. You're so excited and you are at Animal Kingdom and the rope drops and you go straight for Flight of Passage and you're waiting in almost, an hour and a half line. Okay. What fun is that? You have zero advantage at rope drop. So Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios, those three parks, everything's already going to have guests in it in all of the queues. So you have zero advantage. Staying off property, you're going to get there and there's already lines. So you either have to have Disney Genie, you have to have a plan, it kind of like puts a really big damper on your day. If you're like excited and you make the effort to get there for rope drop and it really doesn't allow you anything. The only park where rope drop still actually works and happens is at Magic Kingdom because you have Fantasyland and Tomorrowland that have guests already in it. So your plan needs to be, if you're staying on property and you get there for rope drop, you need to head over to the other direction. You need to go to Adventureland. You need to go over to so Liberty Square. So you're going to want to go to either Haunted Mansion. Jungle Cruise is a really popular one. So go to Jungle Cruise or Big Thunder Mountain. Head to that side of the park because there's not going to be anybody in line. And then start using your Disney Genie and booking more attractions. At 7 a.m. when you get on that app, you can book something, and I would book something in Tomorrowland or Fantasyland because then you're not going to be able to get on those. But it affects early entry really affects those parks over in Walt Disney World because people are already in the parks. And so if you come and you're like, okay, I made the effort to get here for rope drop, it doesn't give you any advantage. Unlike at Disneyland, you can still rope drop at Disneyland, either park, any day. Early entry does not affect it. It's really important that you understand how much early entry affects and how much you really want to stay on property because you want that advantage on your Disney World vacation. And it's so early. Trust me, it is super early to get up and to make that effort. But it is worth it. Then go back to your hotel and take a rest in the afternoon when it's hot and the lines are even longer, and then come back in the evening. So that's kind of what we did. That's worked best for us.
And it worked well. But I mean, I do think we should stress how early we were up because you can be there for early entry, but if you're not at the very first group of early entry, the very front, you're still going to have a longer wait for like Flight of Passage and Mine Train, things like that. I mean, at one point, it was dark. I think almost every time we did early entry, it was dark. We were leaving our hotel room and it was dark. At one point, we saw a raccoon, a nocturnal animal, was wandering around the resort property. And I was like, what time is it? It's the middle of
5:50
the
in the
night.
morning. I remember one time we left at 5:50 in the morning to get on the bus that was like at 6 because early entry was 7. Early entry is really early at Animal Kingdom. Like we were in line for Flight of Passage and it was dark. And by the time we got off the ride, it was daylight, like the sun had risen. It was really crazy.
No, but we were like, if we're going to be here and have early entry, we're going to do it the right way. We're not going to just, stroll in for the last 10 minutes of early entry. We're doing it. And we did it. And I think that's why we were so successful is that we basically rope dropped early entry is what we were doing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is a good way to put it.
And that's why we were able to do as much as we did. So it was awesome, but it was very early.
It was very early and we were tired. It was not a vacation. We were definitely tired. And even one night we did an after hours event, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then we back to back rope dropped and did early entry the next morning. And it was, we got what, 3, 4 hours of sleep. It's all for science and it's all to help you guys have the best vacation and to help you. It's all about strategy, but it was fun. It was worth it.
It was fun. All right, well, let's talk about another difference is dining. Because at Disneyland, there are so many quick service restaurants. I feel like the majority of Disneyland and California Adventure are quick service, and they have some really, really good quick service options. And you can mobile order and do all the things. But I feel like Walt Disney World is almost flip-flopped. They have a few quick service options, but I feel like the majority of their very best dining is table service and sit down options. They have so many table service options, and a lot of them are really fun. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think Disneyland really has any great themed table service, maybe like Blue Bayou. But other
Yeah.
than that, they have table service, but it's not like it's hardcore themed, where they have some really awesome themed places to eat at Walt Disney World, but that means you're going to need dining reservations. I mean, you can try to show up, but I think making dining reservations is important at Walt Disney World if you want to experience some of those places. And I think you probably do, especially if you're visiting when it's hot. We have found that having a dining reservation sometime in the afternoon makes a huge difference. Just having a place that you can go and sit in the air conditioning for an hour and enjoy a meal makes all the difference because it gets so stinking hot. So
Mhm.
definitely, I would look into making dining reservations. I like to have at least one per day on Walt Disney World trips because I think it makes a difference and there's some fun options. We went to the 50s Primetime
Oh,
Cafe
mhm.
when we were there. It's at Hollywood Studios, and that one was so fun. All 50s themed. It's like a home style cooking, like if you were at your grandma's kitchen. And
Yeah.
they had all these rules, like we couldn't put our elbows on the table. You're supposed to eat your vegetables first, and no cell phones, very strict, but it was so much fun. So I do think it's worth it. It's part of the experience at Walt Disney World is checking out some of this dining. Like they have a new one at Hollywood Studios, the Woody's Barbecue. That was so
That
fun.
was so good.
Where at Disneyland, if you went your whole trip and didn't do any table service dining and just did quick service, it would be great. You probably wouldn't even notice or care, but Disney World has some awesome options.
They do. And they also have a lot of character dining that we don't
Mm,
have at Disneyland. Disneyland, you've just got the Plaza Inn and then you've got Storybook. And then you've got the
Goofy.
Storytellers. Sorry, Storybook is over at Walt Disney World. Storytellers and then Goofy's Kitchen. Whereas over at Walt Disney World, so I have done like the one at Riviera.
Riviera.
So
Okay.
I'm not as proficient with my Disney World information. But anyway, Riviera, they have a character dining up on the rooftop and it's so much fun. I've also done the storybook with the Snow White and the Evil Queen, and that one is over at like a wilderness lodge. That one was really fun. They have one called Garden Grill, which is over at Epcot. They have like a Akershus, I think it's called. It's a princess dining. Obviously, you can dine in the castle with the princesses. They just have so many more character dining
Hmm.
options, and you don't have to do character dining either because they also have like just great, like we talked about dining options where we sat down at 50s prime time, and then also the Woody's Roundup. They have Space 220 over at Epcot. They've got I think it's like La Cantina or something in the Mexico Pavilion. Over at Animal Kingdom, like they have lots, they have a character dining there as well. Anyway, like you said, there's just lots of so many, and then even the resorts themselves have dining options that you're going to be
Hmm.
like, oh, well, I could just hop on the monorail and go over to the Grand Floridian and eat at their restaurant. I mean, there's tons to choose from.
Well, you named all those awesome restaurants. Now, can you even think of quick service?
No, it's harder. It's definitely
Right?
harder to think of the
Because they
quick
don't have
service.
that many
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
just not as good. So it's
yeah,
hard to think of quick service, but like when you're talking table service, you can just name all these amazing options.
yeah,
Quick
yeah. It's
service
true.
is harder. Yeah,
It's
for
very
sure.
true. Okay, well, so let's talk about when we did go eat the 50s prime time. We were there at night because we went and did one of their after hours events. So let's talk about the difference between it's called after hours over Walt Disney World and it's called after dark over at Disneyland. Disneyland, so their parties, we have both done both of them on both coasts. And so we kind of know the differences now. And over on at Disneyland, you're going to have like your Oogie Boogie, and then you're going to have like your Star Wars night and your Pride night and your Princess night that are Disneyland. All of those events, you can get into the parks 3 hours before the event starts. And then you have the event, which is usually 4 hours. And then you have photo pass that's included and entertainment, and the lines for characters are usually really long, but the lines for attractions are short. So that's kind of, if you're familiar with Disneyland, that's kind of what it looks like. Over at Walt Disney World, what we really liked is they have an additional thing that you're like, what? Okay, they had free Mickey bars, ice cream bars, soda, bottles of soda and water, popcorn, all throughout the night, the entire night. Like once the event starts, you can go over here in this land and then go over to this kiosk and get it. And you can just get as much as you want. You could fill it up in your backpack and take it home. So that was, we were like, what? Say what? All this food is included with your event. So that was awesome. And it felt less crowded. I feel
Okay.
like the Disneyland events, I mean, yes, there are less people, but Walt Disney World even felt like fewer people. Like we really were able to do everything in Hollywood Studios that we wanted to that night. And Hollywood, so the after hours events, sorry, they're called after hours. Those events take place in certain parks. So they offer them at Magic Kingdom, at Hollywood Studios, and at Epcot. And I think that if you were going to go to one for the very first time or just even try one, I would do Magic Kingdom because there are so many, there's more attractions in that park. Hollywood Studios, you're limited to just the rides that are in that park, or Epcot. So if you were gonna, I would say get the most bang for your buck, try Magic Kingdom. But we really enjoyed just how little people were there, and the food. I couldn't believe that. And it was really fun. So, I mean, I can't compare them like which one is better. I can just tell you the things that are offered at each one because I enjoyed both of them. I really did. And if you have an evening and you're like, maybe if you're staying off property or it's the day you come in, you're like, you could knock everything out in Hollywood Studios in an after evening event, an after hours event, and then not have to do that like as one of your park days. So
For
think
sure.
about that too. You could do that ticket, and that ticket's going to be cheaper than buying a all day ticket, and you get the food. And anyway,
That's true. Well, and at Disneyland, they're so themed. Like they're Star Wars night and they have so much focus on Star Wars night. But at
true.
Disney World, it's just like a regular night at the parks. There's just way less people and free food.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is when we were there, then we were there with some people who mostly did Disney World. They didn't go to Disneyland very often. And when the after hours party started, then we saw Donald Duck and they were so excited. They were like, it's Donald Duck. It's Donald Duck. Let's take a picture with him. And I was like, yep, it's Donald Duck. And they told me that at Walt Disney World, they don't have roaming characters, hardly ever. Where at Disneyland, you're going to see Mickey Mouse, whether you're trying to or not. You're going to walk by and you're going to see him at some point because all the characters are out and about. That's not the case at Disney World, except for after hours parties. They have some of these characters out at Disney World, and they were so excited to see Donald Duck and take a
Yeah.
picture with him, which I thought was so interesting.
Yeah.
So it is a fun way to see characters too.
That's true. And one thing that I wanted to mention is the difference between over at Walt Disney World. So they have these, like I said, these after hours events, and it's a ticketed event. But if you remember earlier in the discussion, I talked about extended evening hours that deluxe resort guests get. Let me tell you the difference because I've done both. You do not get the added food. You don't get the soda, the drinks, the popcorn, and all of that with your extended evening hours as a deluxe resort. But are the parks just as empty? Yes, they are. That is a huge advantage, especially if you're paying for one room and all of you are getting into that. And that again is it's the only hard part about that, or either one of these, is they're really late at night. So if you have young kids, this is not an option for you. I wouldn't take a young kid to this. They would not be able to stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning. But the nice thing is, again, transportation at the end of the night, when you're done, they have buses waiting there to take you back to your resort. So that was really nice too. But the difference between the two, they're similar in the sense that you can get a lot done and the lines are super short. Just the difference is the food thing that they don't have for those that stay for extended evening hours. And again, they only offer that at Magic Kingdom and Epcot. So that's the difference in that.
And when you do those for when you're staying deluxe, is everything open? Like at Magic Kingdom, is everything open? Or is it just to Fantasyland and Tomorrowland?
No, everything was open. But there are certain attractions that start closing. Like I want to say like probably like Aladdin, the magic carpet. And
Mhm.
I don't know if like all of Fantasyland was open as the night got later, but I rode Seven Dwarfs Mine Train from 12:30 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 times in a row.
That's
It
impressive.
was so good.
That's impressive.
So yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, but
See,
yeah,
just comes
that's
back to the benefits of staying on property.
exactly. Yes. And then choosing your hotel. So yeah, so much to think about and so many like just things to consider when you're trying to plan a Walt Disney World trip that's very different from Disneyland. And I think it's fun. Like we've gone a couple times together, and I feel like this is like a series we could do on different things, planning a trip to Walt Disney World, and helping you guys so you understand just how different it is if you're used to going to Disneyland. It's just different. It's fun and it's exciting, but it's different. So you got to
Yes.
know.
For sure. And I think people get overwhelmed and stressed because there is so much to think about. And you're also paying a lot of money for this vacation. And you don't want to like mess it up. You don't want to know something, don't understand something or things like that and waste your money, waste your time. But I think that planning ahead will make all the difference. Like just
Yeah,
doing some research and figuring out different things like early entry, how does it work? Genie Plus, how does it work? Those kinds of things make all the difference. Just a little bit of planning before will make all the difference in the end.
agreed. Good
Yep.
advice.
Okay, well, we got to do this again. There's so
Okay,
many things we could talk about
I
for
agree.
Walt Disney World to help people plan their trips.
I agree. All right. Well, stay tuned, everyone. We
Yep.
will do
We'll be
another
back.
one talking about Walt Disney World strategies.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks, Chantel.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much to Chantel. We had such a great time at Walt Disney World. And I think we're going to make this a regular thing. Every once in a while, we're going to come out with a new episode about Walt Disney World because it is a whole different ball game over there, planning Walt Disney World and planning Disneyland. And the more information you have on whatever park you're going to, I feel like the better off you're going to be, the more fun you're going to be able to have, the more relaxed trip you're going to be able to have, and the more you're going to be able to save money, all of that. So thank you, Chantel. We're going to do another episode about Walt Disney World real soon. Stay tuned for that. I hope everyone has a great, great day. Don't forget to leave a review. Anyone who leaves a review is entered to win a $50 Disney gift card, and I'm giving away 2 of them. And I appreciate everyone who has sent in reviews so far. You guys are the best. So definitely leave a review so you can be entered to win one of those Disney gift cards. All right. That's all of the time I have for today. I'm going to go dream about the cake I'm eating tomorrow. And I will be back next week with something new. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk soon.